Hello, everybody. That's the leg, and I'm very happy to see all of you in Zoom meeting, in the Zoom. So for the last 2 months, we didn't have a class because the first month, I took a break as a holiday. Then the Chinese New Year started. Then also we've been busy for the 2 months. So today is the first day of having Dharma class in 2022. Also, for the last 2 years, so we have been facing a lot of challenging due to the COVID. Whatever, we are still survive with a healthy body and happy mind. So the Saturday class, as usual, we will study about entering the middle way. The entering middle way, the text is one of the most important texts to realize emptiness. Here we need to know few things. During the first wheel of Dharma, Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths: the cause of suffering and suffering, the cessation and the path to cessation. But he didn't explain very precisely, profoundly, how to achieve cessation through the path. The second time, when Buddha turned the second wheel of Dharma, then he very much emphasized how to achieve cessation through practice the path particularly which is realize emptiness. Therefore, the second wheel of Dharma, particularly the wisdom teachings, include Heart Sutras, very much emphasize teaching the emptiness. So when we try to understand the meaning of emptiness based on the Heart Sutra, based on the perfection teaching, it is so difficult to understand the meaning of emptiness. The phone is ringing. Sorry, so difficult to understand the meaning of emptiness because the perfection teaching taught by Buddha to the disciples who are very intelligent, who has very advanced wisdom. Therefore, we not going to understand the meaning of emptiness based on the perfection teaching. Therefore, then the second, when the Nagarjuna explained emptiness with the 6 charities, particularly the Mule Madhyamaka Karika. Even though he really summarized the meaning of emptiness, expound different ways, still for us, we really don't understand the meaning of emptiness. Then the third, Chandrakirti, he also realized the person not going to understand the 2 truths, also the 2 paths, the wisdom and the methods based on the Mula Madhyamaka Karika. Therefore, he composed the entering the middle way. Now we know the order. When we study the entering the middle way, the treatise, then we're going to understand the meaning of emptiness, which is Nagarjuna explained in the Mule Madhyamaka Karika. Then we will understand the meaning of emptiness, which is Buddha explained in the Heart Sutra also, or the wisdom treatise. Therefore, there's a first we study entering middle way. The second, when you read the Mule Madhyamaka Karika, we're going to understand the meaning. Then when we study the Heart Sutra, we for us very easy to understand emptiness. So this is very important treatise. Also, in the past, I said many times, we are not a researcher who does research about Buddha teaching. We are not researcher, which is we're going to research about the Nagarjuna's treatise, Chandrakirti treatise. We are not researcher, so we are practitioner. Therefore, why we need to practice the path? Then how we should practice the path? Answer for the first question, why we need to practice the path? Because we don't want suffering. We don't want any types of suffering. Also, we don't want the causes which is arising suffering. Therefore, we need to practice the Dharma and the path. First point. The second point, then how we should practice the Dharma. How? Mean we need to know how to practice. We will know how to practice Dharma through studying the middle way treatise. Right? Therefore, the first chapter in the entering the middle way, the joy. Right? The first chapter is the chapter about the perfect joy. What does mean perfect joy? For example, you are seriously ill for many years. Then one day we met a doctor. The doctor said, this is the tablet you should eat. It will cure all your sickness. Then when you started to taking the medicines day by day, you feel better. Then you feel you have a great joyness. Same way, we don't want suffering. Suffering can be ceased when we realize emptiness. Therefore, the Bodhisattva who reach to the first bhumi, then the Bodhisattva fully realize, since the first bhumi, I will start to eliminate the root of the samsara. Also he realized, since first bhumi, I will be a Buddha. Therefore he has a great joyness. So when we think this, we should not just, thinking others. We must think, if I realize emptiness, I can stop. I will able to stop the cause of suffering and suffering. Therefore, you must have a sense of, joyness. The second is the second ground is the stillness. When you realize through practicing emptiness, I can be Buddha. I can stop all suffering. But I cannot stop suffering. I cannot achieve liberation and cessation within one lifetime. I need to go through many lives. Therefore, I seriously, sincerely need to practice the moral, shila, the ethical discipline. When we were fully awake, we knew I should not do bad things. I must do only good things. Even though when you think I want to harm someone, immediately you will stop, thinking harming others. But while we are sleeping in the dream, we cannot control our negative thoughts. Therefore, the person who really believes through practicing emptiness, I can achieve Buddhahood, then I need to go through many lifetimes. Therefore, I sincerely need to practice shila, vows, morality. Right? Then, after you practice the shila for many years, one day you reach the stage. Even though in your dream, you're not going to break any of the vows. That means your mind or your shila become stainless, become very pure. Right? Then third, fourth, fifth. So today we start from the sixth ground. Sixth ground. Mainly going to study about emptiness. Please, everybody, should not just read the textbook, the root text. Should not just only, read about the commentary. You must read the root text and the commentary with the wish to realize emptiness. Realizing emptiness is the most important practice. Without realizing emptiness, doesn't matter how long, how many years, we will practice for the 5 perfections. So we're not going to achieve liberation. We're not going to achieve Buddhahood. Without realizing emptiness, we are still like a blind person. Therefore, we must study with a sense of like a sense of aspiration to realize emptiness. I knew, many of you have been attending Dharma class here and there, which is very good. We must attend Dharma class as much as you can. But the most important, you should not forget, you are not researcher, you are not collector, you're not going to be, like a professor. You must think, I'm going to attend all the Dharma class only for one reason, which is want to be Buddha. Right? Therefore, we all together read the 6th chapter for few verses. Chapter the 6th ground, page number 49. The 6th ground, namely the manifest. On directly facing, he abide in the mind of meditative equipoise and turn to the attributes of perfect Buddhahood. This Bodhisattva who sees the truth of dependent origination attains true cessation by dwelling in wisdom. Just as a single man with the eyes can easily lead a group of blind men to the desired destination, here too, intelligence lead the subtlest virtues or guide them to conquer state. One who has realized the utterly profound truth through scripture and through reasoning as well was the noble Nagarjuna. So I will expound here his tradition as it appears in his treatise. Even ordinary person, when hearing about emptiness, sheer joy surges again and again within their heart. Tears born from such a joy fill their eyes, and their hair stand up in their focals flawless. Such as people have the seeds of perfect Buddhahood. They are the perfect vessel for this teaching. To them, you should teach the sublime ultimate truth. For them, the ensuring quality will come to the birth. Adopting perfect morality, they will always abide by it. They will practice generosity and cultivate compassion. They will practice forbearance and will dedicate thoroughly their virtues to freedom for all being. They will reverse those who aspire to perfect awakening, gaining mystery of way profound as was. Such a person will gradually attain the ground of perfect joy. So all those who thus aspire, pray listen to this path, not originating from itself. So since this verses is actually entering into the emptiness. So now we read the commentary. What does mean the manifest? Manifest. If you have the commentary, the page number is 157. 157. Introducing the sixth ground. It has 4 parts. Number 1, the etymology of the name of the ground and its superiority in wisdom. Part number 2, praise of the perfection wisdom, explaining the reality in terms of seeing profound dependent origination. Number 4, conclusion, the starting the qualities of the ground. So within these 4 parts, the 6th ground going to finish. That means it has almost less than 300 pages. Among the 10 chapters, the 6th chapter is the most important, also very difficult to understand. When we attend teaching from His Holiness Dalai Lama, so many times he cited, the verses from the intermediate way, particularly the 6th ground. Therefore, it's very important. Therefore, when you have a free time, please read the root text, maybe 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages, and try to understand the meaning. Not only just understanding, try to practice as much as you can. For example, what Buddha said in one of the sutra, among the 4 noble truths, first, Buddha taught the truth of suffering. He taught the truth of suffering with the 4 attributes. First, he taught impermanence. Impermanence. So every day, everybody need to remember, need to realize impermanence. I am impermanent. I am impermanent. My belongings are impermanent. My relatives are impermanent. Everything around us, around you, are impermanent. Impermanent. So how we need to realize impermanent. Therefore, Buddha said, when you understand arising, coming to exist, you will understand impermanent. No. When you understand arising, coming to exist, you will understand decay, changing. When you understood decay and changing, you will understand impermanence. Once you understood impermanence, you will enter into truth dharma, which is emptiness, which is selflessness. So therefore, how we should, enter into realizing emptiness? First, need to realize everything around me is arising depend on causes and condition. Therefore, things around me going to decay, going to change, going to disappear. Therefore, we realize impermanence. When we realize impermanence, then we realize I am impermanent. My body, my mind, me, impermanent. Then, based on knowing me and my body, my minds are impermanent, then we realize I, self, we think it's impermanent, but we realize it is impermanent. And also, let's say, so we have experience, everybody has experience with when one of our dearest person lost, passed away. We feel very upset. We feel very unhappy. That moment, somebody will ask you why you are very upset about the person who passed away. What is your answer? And also, why, many people, pass away. In the past, in the last year, last month, even though this day between Russia and Ukraine, there's a, serious fighting, war. Every day, many people losing their life because of causes condition. When we realize impermanence, particularly, your relatives, your dearest friend, your dearest sister, your dearest mother, your dearest husband and wife and children, when they're passing away, for you very easy to control the emotional suffering. Also for you, it's not like, just life is comes and goes, comes and goes, comes and goes. Nothing remains as a permanent. That means you are born, we survive for many years, then one day, whether we want or we don't want, we have to go. Therefore, we need to realize impermanence based on realizing, arising from causes condition, then arising, decay, impermanence. So when we realize impermanent, it reduces your attachment, your desire, also, angry. Therefore, meditating on impermanence is very, very important. Therefore, how we should, realize or entering into realizing emptiness is start from impermanence. Therefore, here's the sixth Guru has four parts. Please remember, number one, etymology of the name of the ground. Why we name in the manifest. Then praise of the perfection of wisdom. Number three, explaining reality in terms of the seeing, profound, dependent origination. And the conclusion, starting the quality of the ground. Within these four parts is complete, the almost less than 300 pages. Number one, the etymology of the name of the ground and its superiority in wisdom. On the directly facing, he abide in the mind of the meditative equipoise and turn to the attributes of the perfect Buddhahood. The Bodhisattva who sees the truth of the dependent origination, attain the truth cessation by dwelling in wisdom. This is the paragraph to explain why we name a direct facing or manifest. Manifest. On directly facing means when the Bodhisattva was, when he reached to the sixth ground, then he really sees, he really realized the emptiness. Therefore, based on realizing, the unmistaken emptiness, then he abode in the mind of meditative equipoise and turned into the attributes of the perfect Buddhahood. Now you can see the link, achieving Buddhahood and meditate on emptiness. Also, here we need to know what does mean, like Buddha. When I become a Buddha, so what is the differences between being a Buddha or not being a Buddha? So, for example, you are very, angry with someone. Without analyzing the person, you are very angry. You really cannot control your angry, angry, your anger. You are very angry. Anger is so strong. That time, when you analyze about the object whom you angry, the person, the environment, the events, whatever. After analyzing for quite a while, then you can see there's not any particular point which you can be very angry. Therefore, first, when you analyze, it really helps us to control our anger. The more you analyze about the phenomena, then you will realize there's no any particular part, particular point, particular, attributes I'm angry about, I'm attaching about. Therefore, when you meditate on emptiness, that means first all the negative thoughts going to be very calm. Then after meditate on emptiness for many years, then you're going to control the ignorance. Then one day, we able to eliminate the ignorance with the imprints. Then we are Buddha. Therefore, you need to know the link, realizing emptiness. Through realizing emptiness, how you can be Buddha, how you can control all the bad thoughts, all the negative thoughts. Therefore, here, on directly facing, you really directly realize emptiness. He, the practitioner, the Bodhisattva, he abode in the mind of meditative equipoise and turned to the attributes of the perfect Buddhahood. This Bodhisattva who sees the truth of the dependent origination, attain the truth cessation by dealing in the wisdom. Having attained on the fifth ground, a thoroughly pure perfection of the meditative equipoise. During the fifth ground, the Bodhisattva was very much focused on meditating on karma body. There's here like a meditative equipoise. Then the Bodhisattva abode in the most excellent mind of meditative equipoise of the sixth ground. Mind of the meditative equipoise of the sixth ground, namely directly facing or manifest. Now also you can see, for example, yesterday, you are really practice like a meditative equipoise, fully focus on a single object, right? Like a karma body, wide for minimum hours. The next day, having the meditative equipoise, then you analyze the phenomena. Now you can see the two minds united. One, the meditative equipoise, which is fully focused on a chosen object. The second mind, which is able to analyze the chosen object. In one hand, your mind is fully focused on the object, one single object. Other hand, your mind still analyzing the object. You are meditating on the object. At the same time, you are analyzing the phenomena. Still you are realizing the emptiness. That means that time, the two things become very union. The meditative equipoise and the spiritual insight. Because the fifth Bhumi, during that time, the Bodhisattva was, become very, very good in the karma body. Thus, the Bodhisattva on the sixth ground, who on the basis of profound truth of dependent origination, of mere conditionedness, attain the truth cessation because of the dwelling in the most excellent perfection of the wisdom. Three to this, such as in the fifth ground, the Bodhisattva do not attain such a cessation, for he has not reached the superiority in the excellent perfection of wisdom. One cannot attain the cessation through excellence in the first five perfections alone. So, without having the excellent wisdom, nobody can achieve the truth cessation. Even though the Bodhisattva are very excellent in the five perfection, not excellent in the wisdom, he or she cannot achieve the truth cessation. Now here what we need to remember all the time. First, we need to generate great compassion, love and great compassion towards all sentient beings. Within the love and compassion, first we must love. We must have a loving kindness to all sentient beings without exception. For you, for us, all sentient beings, all human beings, whether you are relative, you are enemy, they are equally important for you. Therefore, you love all sentient beings as you love as your dearest mother. That means, loving kindness. When you have a very loving kindness towards all sentient beings, then compassion comes automatically. For example, when you love someone very much, you never ever think, I will harm this person. I will give suffering this person. I will cause, have a suffering this person. You never think, because you have a sincere, loving kindness to the person. Once we have a loving kindness, great compassion, then bodhicitta will come. Because you have a great compassion, you really want to benefit. You always want to benefit all sentient beings. Like you are a mother, you have only one child. You very much love the child. You are providing all the necessary, like a food, like a gift, clothes, like a toys for play. You are providing all the things to your child. But in your mind, most important, you always think, I must give the good education, the best education. Then my children will have, good future. Same way we must think, whatever I can, I must benefit all sentient beings. Most importantly, I want them, free from suffering. How? I must teach them how to free from suffering. In order to teach them how to free from suffering, how to achieve the ultimate happiness, we need to know how to teach. Therefore, first, we have to be Buddha. Then you have a thoughts. I want to be Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Now you can see the order. Loving kindness, great compassion. Compassion can be benefit for, temporarily, benefit for kind of forever. Then you have a thought. The mind wish to be bodhicitta, wish to be Buddha. Then bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta. Then these are the kind of the pre-condition, pre-cause. That in order to be Buddha, based on having bodhicitta, then we need to practice the 6 perfections. 6 perfections are the main practice of bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas always practice the 6 perfection together. Within the 6 perfection, if you're missing the last perfection, which is the wisdom perfection, the rest of the 5 perfections are still blind person. So for us, until this life, maybe until we study about the intermediate way, we have been look like blind person, because we do recitation, we do chanting, we do prostration, we read a lot of dharma books, we visit all the holy places, we do a lot of dharma practice. All the dharma practice look like still blind person. All the practices never directly cause to achieve liberation, Buddhahood. With the wisdom perfection, then the 5 perfection look like having a sight, having a eyes to see things. Then all the practices directly cause to achieve Buddhahood. Right? Therefore, in the past, I said, I urge many times, when you offer a light, doesn't matter, it's oil light, candle light, wooden light, electric light. When you offer a light to holy object in front of the Buddha, you must think, I will offer this light to become a Buddha, to benefit all sentient beings. That moment when you offer the light itself is empty of inherent existence. The object whom you are offering the light, the Buddha also empty of inherent existence. The person who offer the light, you also need to realize, I'm also empty of inherent existence. That means you are offering the light having, realizing kind of emptiness. Most time we never think, the empty of the object and subject and the recipient work. We just, offer a light, we just pray, and we recite a few mantras, we offer the light, fruits, and in all the things. So therefore, very important, our daily practice. Even to recite just one time Om Mani Padme Hum, the reciting Mani Padme must motivated by great compassion and bodhicitta. While you are reciting mantra, remember the emptiness. That means reciting just one time Mani Padme become very important practice, accumulating merit, controlling your negative thoughts. The practice can be, direct cause to achieve liberation. Therefore, it's so important about the who sees the truth of dependent origination, attain the truth cessation by dwelling in the wisdom. He is very clearly saying this Guru is called the manifest. Once more, Bodhisattva did not attain such as cessation, for he has not reached the superiority in the excellent perfection wisdom. One cannot attain the cessation through excellence in the first 5 perfections alone. This Guru is called the manifest. Then there's 3 reasons. Because here, on the basis of superiority in wisdom, the reflection like ultimate nature of things become manifest. Because the wisdom become very superior. Then things around the Bodhisattva actually they manifest as a emptiness. Nature of things become manifest. Reason number 2, because on the first ground, the Bodhisattva took the truth path as his object. And because the Bodhisattva, reason number 3, because the Bodhisattva now turned into attributes of the perfect Buddhahood. Here I think many people thinking, what does mean? Because the number 2, because on the 5th ground, Bodhisattva took the truth path as the object. Most of the Dharma books, they don't explain much about, like 2 types of Four Noble Truth, the gross and subtle. The gross kinds of Four Noble Truth, then very subtle types of Four Noble Truth. Particularly, very subtle types of the path. Therefore, the Bodhisattva who reached the 5th bhumi, he focused very particularly on subtle types of the path. Now you can see more precisely the explanation of the commentary interrupt in the 2nd reason here. But the 2nd reason, or the reason number 1, on the basis of superiority in wisdom, the reflection like ultimate nature of things become manifest. Reason number 2, because on the 5th ground, the Bodhisattva took the truth path as his object. This is the 2nd reason. The second reason here is, in terms of the path by which is the non-perception of the cognition and its object become manifest. However, the description of how on the fifth ground Bodhisattva took the truth as his object simply referred to the last of the Four Noble Truths. Last means the path. The meaning, in other words, is that the Bodhisattva on the fifth ground become versed in the gross, the subtle aspect of the Four Noble Truths. And on the sixth ground, the wisdom verse is the four truth come to full realization. That means the Bodhisattva who abide on the sixth ground, he realized the both Four Noble Truths, gross and subtle, particularly the subtle level of the path, subtle level path. Therefore, he comes to fully realize the Four Noble Truths. And also, before there is saying here one thing, profound truth of the dependent origination, right? Also, many of you are thinking, oh, yeah, I knew what does mean dependent origination, right? Many of you are thinking, oh, I knew what does mean dependent origination because the children depend on parents. The parents are dependent on the grandparent. They are dependent on the great-great-grandparent. I know dependent origination. The sprout depends on the seeds, water, soil, heat. You think I understand dependent origination? Yes, you understood, one level of dependent origination, which is dependent on causes and condition. Causes and condition. Also, when we think, cause and effect, it's not easy to understand the actual meaning of cause and effect. Yes, like a springtime, when we put seeds on the ground and add water and soil, after a few days, we can see things is arising. Then it remain for maybe a few months. For us, between cause and effect has like a long time, maybe a few months or few years or few days for us. In the reality, between cause and effect has always just one moment. One moment. First moment, cause. Second moment, the cause transforms into like a result or effect. When we think about cause and effect, we should not think there's a kind of long time, long duration between cause and effect. No. All the time, there's always only one subtle moment between cause and effect. Right? Therefore, depend on cause and effect, things depend on causes and condition, mean things, as a result, depend on cause and condition. Between cause and effect, there's only one moment. So we don't understand, the moment between cause and effect. Therefore, when you, for example, these are kind of like a handphone, handphone. When we look at today, right now, for me, this phone and the phone which exists yesterday, for me, it looks like same. In my hand, move this hand, we cannot see difference, right? Now in this right hand, I move in the left hand, look at again, I cannot see difference. I cannot see it's changing momentarily. Therefore, for us, we can see, oh, everything always remain same. Actually, never, none of the conditioned phenomena can remain same. It is all that is changing momentarily. Therefore, first you should not think, oh, I understand, the meaning of dependent origination because of cause and effect. The second, the meaning of dependent origination depend on parts. Again, this thing we know is come from many different causes, condition. So many things put together is function as a phone, receiving phone call, calling phone here and there. For us, this is just one phenomena. When we analyze this phenomena, it has so many billions of parts. When we open, we can see wire and receiving all the magnets, so and so. Even though when you open one wire, you break down the wire, you can see a lot of particles, billions of particles. Also, we need to know everything depends on parts, the whole and parts. When we say house, it's just one phenomena. The house exists, depend on, in one hand, the previous causes condition. Also, at the same time, the house is depend on many parts. Look at when we build house, we need to build the foundation. With the foundation, we put with so many things, parts. The house as a whole, house has many parts. Also, when we study very precisely, yes, when we look at the external phenomena, look like we can understand, depend on parts, many parts. When we reflect our body, yes, we're going to understand my body has so many parts. Body means just one thing. It's a head and head and eyes and nose and mouth. All many parts. Right? Also, when we think about our mind has many parts. Past, present, future. With the present has many parts. Also, for us, quite easy to understand the body. Man has many parts. When we think self, I, how the I exists, how we can understand it has many parts. Right? This is the second meaning of dependent origination. Then third, it's not easy. It never, not really easy to understand. Depends on name, and thoughts. So from this point, then the four schools, particularly the Prasangika and the other middle school has a different view. From Prasangika point of view, everything manly designation. Then the Madhyamaka school, no, we cannot say everything merely designation. It is half. How we label, how must come from the object side. For example, this is phone. Mean we label this object as a phone, but this phone must have a function to make a phone call, to receive call, half and half. But from the Prasangika view, All phenomena around us include Buddha, Bodhisattva, Bodhicitta, everything merely designated phenomena. Therefore, in order to fully understand the dependent origination, we need to reflect these three things: depend on causes, condition, depend on many parts, depend on thoughts and name. Thoughts and name. And therefore, it is linked with the truth of the dependent origination. Okay, now we for two types of the Four Noble Truth. Then the reason number one, because here, on the basis of superiority in wisdom, reflection like an ultimate nature of the things become manifest. What does mean? The reflection like ultimate nature of the things become manifest. Now the second reason here, page number 158, the second paragraph. The first reason indicates how the wisdom worst, see in the sequential and the reverse order of the 12 link of dependent origination come to full realization here on the sixth ground. So when we meditate on 12 link dependent origination, there's a two different way we can do meditation. One is the sequential order, and second is the reverse. The sequential ignorance arises what we call formation or karma. The ignorance and the karma arise, consciousness, which is a sequential. The reverse, at the last you can say birth. The birth cause or arise, aging and death. That means the death actually caused by ignorance. It is in a sequential way. Now the reverse. Reverse means the death can be ceased if birth cease, birth and aging cease. Then birth and aging can be ceased. Then, the 10 becoming. So you need to reflect from the last, the 12 number is aging and death, all the way to ignorance. That means reverse and sequential. Therefore, the Bodhisattva who abide on the sixth ground, he or she is become very, have a very profound wisdom to meditate on the 12 link dependent origination. The first reason indicate how the wisdom works in the sequential and the reverse order of the 12 link dependent origination. Come to full realization here on the sixth ground. Thus, the meaning here is that on the basis of full realization of this true training in wisdom, the Four Noble Truth and dependent origination have come to the manifestly known by the Bodhisattvas. Since the three training in the wisdom are fully realized, three training of the Shila, training of Samadhi, training of wisdom. Therefore, the second Bhumi, become the Bodhisattva who abode in second bhumi, he or she become very master how to practice the maintaining of Shila. Then third, fourth, fifth, particularly the fifth bhumi, when he or she reached the fifth bhumi, he or she becomes very master in the practice of samadhi, the maintaining of samadhi, very profound equipoise, very profound kamabading. Then the Bodhisattva, when he reached to the sixth bhumi, he or she become very master about practicing attaining of the wisdom. Therefore, you can see the three man-turning fully realized. Fully realized. 12 many of you know by the Bodhisattva, since the three training in the wisdom are fully realized on this ground, giving that the more distinctly superior on the tranquility, the more distinctly superior will be on the one's insight. That means the fifth, the Bodhisattva who abide on the fifth bhumi, he or she distinctly superior on the tranquility or kamabading or shamatha, become very master. Therefore, when he or she reach to the sixth bhumi, become distinctly superior will be one's insight. And giving how on the fifth ground Bodhisattva attain the most excellent perfection of the meditative absorption. So here on the sixth ground, the perfection of wisdom come to be more excellent. Therefore, it is from the ground onward that the special form of the absorption into cessation is attained. Right? Then also the cessation, it is little bit, in the meaning is different than the cessation within the Four Noble Truth. Cessation. So this one we will learn, we're going to study later. For example, for us, first moment, you can meditate on the kamabading, the meditative equipoise, and second moment, let's say you can meditate on the special insight. The third moment, also you can meditate on the meditative equipoise. It's very fast. First moment, meditate on kamabading, and immediately, second moment, immediately we can meditate on the special insight. And third moment, again, we can meditate on kamabading. Kamabading, special insight is changed very quickly, able to. But the Bodhisattva who abide in the sixth bhumi, not easy at all to immediately change these two states, kamabadi and special insight. Because for them, the meditating on the emptiness look like you're pouring water in water. You have a cup of water, you pour in another water. In somebody asks, can you separate the water which is you pouring from your cup? Yes, you can, but not easy at all. Right? Therefore, the cessation is, the meaning of cessation is different than the cessation among the Four Noble Truths. So he just let you know, we will study later, maybe after a few weeks. Then there's a quotation from the Precious Garland on the Sunday class. So we will, start the class based on the Precious Garland, because it also is one of the middle way treatises. Then now the second part, priest of the perfection wisdom, the priest of the perfection wisdom. As first, etymology, what does mean manifest? Second, why it is so important, why we need to praise to the wisdom. To demonstrate that the collection other than the perfection wisdom, such as generosity, depend on the perfection of wisdom to trace to the resulting ground. Now, the sixth perfection we divide into two. The first 5 perfection and the sixth. In order to cause the first perfection to the resultant, the Buddhahood, the wisdom perfection is very important. Also, is depend on the perfection wisdom. The analogy comes later here. The root text. Just as a single man with the eyes can easily lead a group of blind men to their desired destination. Here, true intelligence lead the subtlest virtues and guide them to the conqueror states. The first 2 lines, the analogy, right? For example, there's 10 blind people. You are the only one who has eyes. So without having any problem, you can bring them to the right place because you have eyes. If there's nobody has eyes, then the blind group of people, they move little bit the right direction, they move the wrong direction. Sometimes they move in the wrong direction, again move in the right direction. They never continuously move on the right direction because no eyes. No eyes. Right? But still you can think, oh, these days people can walk through the walking stick, but not easy. Not easy. This is the analogy. Then second, here true intelligence lead the subtlest virtues and guide them to conqueror's step. Just as for example, a single man with the eyes can easily lead a group of blind men to their desired destination. Likewise, here too, in the context of the path intelligence, namely the perfection wisdom, lead or thoroughly sustain the virtues such as generosity that are the subtlest in relation to the suggestness. And in this way, the wisdom guides them to the resultant conquer or step. For each thoroughly perfection of wisdom that one sees without distortion what is the right path and what is not. Right? So this sentence, when we reflect this sentence, then we will realize all the practices are very important. But without realizing emptiness, all my daily practice look like blind person. It cannot be really go into the right direction. Therefore, we need to study the middle way treatise. Through this text, then we try to realize emptiness. Without realizing emptiness, doesn't matter how long we practice bodhicitta, we cannot achieve our desired goal, which is Buddhahood. Right? So always remember this sentence. Then also the second quotation from the condensed profession of the wisdom, one of the wisdom treatise. So it's with the just 4 line, 4 line, 4 line. Also so difficult to read. In my tradition, as a all the Tibetan children, when they learn how to read and write, particularly how to read like a Tibetan, first we teach the alphabet, Kaka, Ganga, Cha Cha, Janya. Then second we say Kaya, Ta, Ya, Yada, Rada. When the children fully understood all the alphabets, whether the lower cap, upper cap, then we teach them the Dharman Khatsutra, word by word. First, we need to learn, just single word. Second, then we teach, how to read together. When the children fully, able to read the Diamond Cut Sutra, then we let them read the condensed perfection of wisdom. So many children, they really hate reading the condensed perfection of wisdom because it's just, just 4 line, 4 line, 4 line. Not easy to read. The Diamond Cut Sutra is a long line, quite easy to read, The Diamond Cut, the condensed perfection of wisdom, not easy to read. Therefore, many children, they really don't like to read the condensed perfection. When the children really good into read the Diamond Cut Sutra, the condensed perfection of Sutra, then the children need to read the Golden Light Sutra. Right? These 3 chapters, you don't have all the mantras. Children are okay to, quite happy to read these 3. Then the 4th, all the children must read the collection of the Sutra, collection Sutra. It has a lot of mantras. When the children become master with the Diamond Cut Sutra, the condensed, the perfection of wisdom, then the Golden Light Sutra, then the collection Sutra, that means now you can say, oh, this children now is complete, his study about reading. Not easy, but it's a very important treatise. Now we read the quotation from the condensed perfection of wisdom. Millions and billions of blind people, bereft of sight, ignorant of the roads. How can they reach the throne, without wisdom, despite perfection? Lagging sight cannot touch a beginning. Right? There's billions or millions of people who are blind. They really wanted to go to town and city, but they don't have eyes. They cannot reach to the city. A city and town refer to the Buddhahood. Right? Then the blind cannot really reach to the town through the road because they cannot see the road. If somebody, bring them until the road, they walk few steps, then they, fall over here and there, cannot reach to the town. Therefore, the rest of the 5 perfections are look like blind people. We only practice the 5 perfection. We really cannot touch to the door of the liberation. We cannot touch the awakening, which is Buddhahood. Then the Diamond Cut Sutra say, a person with the right who step into the dark will not see anything. So too, view the Bodhisattva who has fallen into the grasping at the reality entities while engaging truly in generosity. O Subudhi, it is thus when day break the sun shine, the person with eyes will see all the varied forms. So too, view the Bodhisattva who has not fallen into the grasping at the entity, will engage thoroughly in the generosity. But even though when we have our eyes, when we enter into dark place, we cannot see things in the house. Mean with the eyes mean we practice the five perfection, but we cannot see the reality, which is suchness or emptiness. So when the morning break, when the sun break, right? But it is when the day break, the sunshine, a person with eyes will see all the various form. When we realize emptiness, then the rest of the five perfection can be caused to achieve liberation. But now it's 4:30. I think today we can stop our class here because it's a bit difficult topic. So next, our class, we will start from the explaining the seeing profound dependent origination. There are 5 parts, promising to explain the profound truth, identifying those who are vessel for explaining the profound truth, the way higher quality ensure if suchness is explained, urging those who are stable vessel to listen, the way the suchness dependent origination is explained. There's 5 parts. Everybody must read almost the 5 parts. It says maybe like 10 pages. Just please read, and after you reading, you try to remember what you have written, what you have read, right? Then next time when we attend class, when we have class, for you very easy to understand. Therefore, at the beginning, I really urge all of you, we are not researcher, we are not collector, we are not just wandering person wondering about Dharma. We are serious practitioner. For us, studying Dharma is very serious matter because we don't want suffering. And also, which is very good, many of you are attending class here and there. Make sure you are understanding, don't go in the wrong side. Also make sure all the knowledge can be caused to errors you are arrogant. And also make sure you are not just only busy with the studying. You must be busy with your studying. Also you must be busy with your practice as well. Must go these two together. Otherwise, you study for many years, but you cannot feel you are changed, or your friend cannot see you are changed. Or the worst case, your friend can see you are very arrogant, or you become very strange person. Those are not good signs. The more you study, the more you reduce your negative thoughts. What the Kadampa said, all the Kadampa masters said, the indication of studying is reducing your ego. Also, people can see you become very calm and happy person. This is the indication of you are studying Dharma. Then the indication of practice Dharma is becoming your negative thought is less and less. Mean you are studying well because you are become more calm and more happy person. Or you are practicing Dharma because we can see your negative thoughts become less and less. If you don't have any of these two indication, mean you are just busy with your study, you are just wasting your energy. Also, many people think, oh, even though I cannot practice, I don't understand, I still attend Dharma because I want to have a kind of imprint in my mind for next life. You should not think. Please, practice as much as you can. So also I mentioned, please everybody read, more than the 5 pages about within the 5 parts. So we will start our class with the 5 parts. Okay, so thank you so much. And be safe, be healthy, and be happy. At the end, we do dedication prayers. We dedicate the merit. During the degeneration time, there are some millions of people around us, but we are very fortunate to have the time to study Dharma. Particularly, we are very fortunate to have time to study interim middle way. Particularly, we are very fortunate to have the opportunity to reflect on emptiness and bodhicitta. Therefore, during our Dharma class, definitely we have accumulated the great amount of merit. Reason number 1, we chant the prayers with a great motivation, motivated by bodhicitta. Also, while we are studying, our mind has always great compassion to our sentient being. Therefore, we have accumulated the great amount of merits. All the merits we have accumulated today, we dedicate to cause to achieve Buddhahood ourselves, to benefit all sentient beings. Jamba Bhave Jidara Jamba Adam Kundu Azambo Deyan Deji Deda Kunji Jesu Da Lo Jenge Wandi Da Tangje Raudu Tu Sum Shebe Gyawa Tangje Yang Wa Kan La Chodu Angaba Dake Gewe Zawan Di Kun Zambo Chuji Raudu Second, we dedicate all the merit for eliminating the COVID and the chronic virus. Particularly this day, there's a fighting between Russia and Ukraine. Every day, many people, many parents, many children, many army, many like policemen losing their life. Also every day, there are so many building, hospital, things are destroying. We hope, we wish to soon end the war. Otherwise, we never know what will happen this war. Sincerely, we dedicate the merit to stop the war between Russia and Ukraine. Jidayam Begagan Danjedo Mine Chune Zazra Zade Madru Muge Guba Bunjin Sirene Medege Dembor Show. Also, this problem mainly caused by attachment, anger, and hatred. We wish, the two leaders of the country to have a good understanding, to have a patience, to have a kindness, love and kindness towards their people. Chanjo senjo rinpoche ma ye ba na ye gyu. Jewa nyamba me ba yang kone gondo e wara sho donye da wa rinpoche ma ye ba na ye gyu. Jewa nyamba me ba yang kone gondo e wara sho. Thank you so much for attending the Dharma class. Have a good time. Thank you.